Hey everyone, how's everybody doing tonight? Um, it's a struggle, not gonna lie. Um, I'm not feeling my greatest today. I have a headache. I'm super tired, but we're gonna get through this. I started the live, y'all. I ain't got my mic plugged in, none of that. But let me see. Let me pull up the comments here. Hey everyone that's coming over from Facebook. Bear with me as I plug my mic in. Who is ghetto tonight, y'all? I'm not prepared. I don't have a wingman, but we're gonna make it work, y'all. And we're not gonna be super long tonight either. Come on, Mike. Okay, there we go. Who we got? Hold on. First of all, let me turn on my microphone. Okay. Okay, I think my mic is on now. Oh, who we got? Who we got? Shelly Matthews. Hello. Rosemary Dean. Hey, girl. Meek 007. Hey. S. Carter. Wallace Travel. Tiffany Tiptoe Jones. Chocolate. Can y'all verify in the comments that you can hear me? Debbie Snap. Oh, she says, hi, Ashley. You're so pretty and pink. I hope you got my email, Debbie. I sent you an email the other day. And I hope you're well. Takara Henderson says, hey, Ashley from North Carolina. Hey, hey. Belisha McCollum. Hey, Belisha. Yazzie Yaz. Andrea Longstreet. I saw you on Facebook. Thank you for coming over. J Mac. Mildred Ballard. Kay Davidson. Tina Brown. Hey, Sarah Metcalf. Hey, Chocolate. Joyce Journey. Yazzie says that flower wall is gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. I'm not going to be able to get to all the comments, but thank you guys so much. Everyone who has joined me. Thank you, Tiffany Powell. She says, I like the way you changed up the mic. Okay. Whew, y'all. It has not been the greatest week. It's a lot going on. It's a lot of changes in my life going on, as some of you know. But I'm trying to get through it. And so just bear with me. I know I'm a little unprepared. The show isn't going to be as long tonight, but I wanted to come on and do something because I already canceled last week's show. I didn't want to cancel 2 weeks in a row. From here on out, the show is going to be on Monday instead of Tuesday. Okay. So make sure y'all remember Monday instead of Tuesday. So it'll be Mondays at 8:00. Robin Cooper says, I miss Victoria. Y'all, she's here. She's going to sleep. Her bedtime is 8:00, right when my show starts. So y'all, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a clip from the Housewives. And if you were just on my Facebook Live, you know that because I told y'all there that I don't watch the Real Housewives anymore. I hold on one second. Let me 1 second, y'all. Let me close my door. Hold tight, y'all. Oh, okay. Had to close my, you just got to be mindful because little ears, I don't think she quite knocked out yet, but I don't watch the Real Housewives anymore. The last time that I watched the Housewives, that was when Portia was dating Cordell Stewart, and they were my favorite couple. I liked their, traditional relationship. Haven't watched it since then. That was like 8 years ago. But you know how you're scrolling through Facebook and you see like little clips of reality TV. That's how I found this clip. This girl this girl and this guy, which I don't know who they are, but I saw the clip and I thought that this would be something good for us to look at because we could get a really good teaching lesson from this. Thank you, Miss Teamy. She said, "Love the setup and background." Thanks, y'all, because I worked hard on it, and I had this vision like I want a wall of flowers behind me, and I made it come true. So, without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and play the video. It's a really short clip, y'all. Okay.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a session for you to go and speak to Dr. Ken on like how to speak to men appropriately to get whatever you're trying to do across effectively.
Yes, and then I will pay for you to have a session too to learn how to talk to women. Cheers.
Okay. I'm gonna play it one more time. Let me see. I'm gonna turn my volume up. I just want to make sure you guys hear it. Play it one more time.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a session for you to go and speak to Dr. Ken on like how to speak to men appropriately to get whatever you're trying to do across effectively.
Yes, and then I will pay for you to have a session too to learn how to talk to women. Cheers.
Okay. Uh-oh. I'm frozen, so I can't even remove the video right now. Y'all, my StreamYard acts up here and there and it'll just like freeze. So I can't do anything right now, but I hope you guys can still hear me. Okay, I'm unfrozen now. I hate when that happens. Okay, remove from hold on, how do I remove from the stream? Okay. So, did y'all hear hear it? Okay, Tiffany Powell says he's an a-hole. I don't like him. Okay, so I assume you guys heard the video. Okay. So, I was scrolling and so when I saw that clip, like I don't know what was said before he said that, but just taking the clip at face value, was what he said wrong? Um, no. And I rewatched it about 10 times. And I think there's what actually happened and then how it makes you feel when you watch it because he's very direct. And for my personality, I tend to like men like this that are direct because I like to know what's truly on a man's mind. I don't want him to suppress, like my husband, I don't want him to suppress his feelings. Even if it's going to hurt my feelings, I want to know the truth about how he feels. So this guy, he communicated how he felt. He said that I'm going to schedule a session with Dr. Whoever, so that he can show you like how to speak to men properly. So I'm like, okay, now his tone when he said it, his tone was okay. Like he wasn't yelling. And I was looking at his face, his facial expression. He seemed to be sincere when he was saying it, and he didn't say anything disrespectful. He was expressing to his wife that, um, basically, "I don't like the way you're talking to me, and I think that we need to get somebody to, like, help you to see that the way you're talking to me is not okay, and maybe that this person can teach you how to talk to men." So there was nothing wrong with what he said, but then again, it's how it makes you feel. Because in the moment, when we hear something like that, what happens internally with us is we'll get offended because a lot of times, sometimes we as women, we really don't like the correction. And maybe we don't like where it's coming from. And so it hurts us in that moment to where we can't accept the correction. So I wanted to point that out that one, his tone, he did not have a smart tone, angry tone. Two, there was nothing that he said that was wrong. He expressed himself. And what does she do? Um, she comes back at him and says, "Okay, well, I'm going to schedule you a session so that you can learn how to speak to women." And so I'm thinking, man, okay, another letdown because here he is. He expressed himself and you completely dismiss everything he just said, like it doesn't matter. And um I'm just going to flip the table back on you. So basically, we get nowhere. We don't get anywhere. You said this, so I'm gonna just say it right back. I'm gonna say the same thing right back to you. Now what? And then they cheers, they toast, and it's like, okay, so what was solved? So before I get into what she could have said, I'm gonna read some of the comments here. Um JG. Hey, JG, good to see you. He says, healthy communication in a relationship is important. Thank you. Thank you. Chocolate says she still watches the show. Karen Lewis says he is wanting her to change the way she talks to him. Absolutely. Karen, that's what I heard too. Kay Davison says, I don't like the tit for tat. It's very childish. Very. S. Carter says, yes, but he is so disrespectful. Okay. I mean, I don't watch the show, so I don't know. And editing is a beast, y'all. Just so you know. But he might actually be. I don't know. Shelly Matthews says that Drew Sidora, she played on the game and played the oh, that is Drew Sidora. Wait a second.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna
No.
schedule a session for you
No,
to
no,
go and
no.
speak
Wait,
to
wait.
Dr. Ken
That
on
sure
like
is
how to
her.
speak to
That's
men appropriately to
her.
get.
That is Drew Sidora, Shelly. I didn't even notice. I was a big fan of the game. That sure is. She messed up Derwin and Melanie's relationship. I remember. Yes. Wow, Shelly. Okay. If you hadn't have said that, I would have never noticed that, Shelly. Wow. Wow. Okay. I just had a moment, y'all. I'm sorry. But Shelly says that's Drew Sidora. She played on the game and played this in the Rock movie. That's Ralph Pittman, her husband. He gaslights her so much. Okay. So y'all ain't feeling him. Um Rosemary Dean, all she did was bump heads just like she tapped their glasses. Um S. Carter says he's direct but also disrespectful. Well, let me ask y'all this. Because I don't watch the show, so I don't know how he is in the show. The clip we just watched is what he did in the clip, what he said. Do you guys believe that that was disrespectful? I'm not asking for the episode before that, after that. I don't care about none of that. We're just using this clip for educational purposes. Do you guys feel like what he said to her, do you feel like that was disrespectful? Um Kay Davidson says, I agree. Tell me how you're feeling. I don't want to have to guess. Um, Donna Smith says sometimes it can come across too inconsiderate. What exactly, Donna? I'm wondering what you mean by that. What's inconsiderate? Um, Miss Teamy says, I think the delivery was off, so it offended her. So how did he deliver it? Because and I want to play the clip again and just hear his part. And I want us to talk about because I'm not seeing it. Chocolate says he goes out of town and don't tell her where he's going and don't answer the phone. He's a butthole. Wow. Yeah, that's unacceptable. I wouldn't be okay with that if my husband did that. That's not cool. Um, Alicia Jones Morgan, he has every right to say how he feels, but it works both ways. Of course, y'all. Of course, it works both ways. Shelly Matthews says all the time. So he hired an assistant and they were texting, etc. Drew asked him about it. Sad. Um, mm-mm. Sarah says sometimes it's not what is said, it's the tone she flew back with. Yeah. He went to Tampa for 3 days and didn't tell her. Hmm. See, I don't want to go outside of this clip because I really just want to focus on the clip. But I want to say this to the women who are watching. Y'all have to keep in mind that When y'all hear about people's husbands doing things like that, like, okay, he went to Tampa and didn't tell her, it sounds crazy. Like when I read that, that sounds really, really crazy, right? And it actually makes me a little upset. At the same time, at the same time, we don't have the full story. So it's like, okay, if he disappeared, like if my husband disappears and just goes to another state and I don't know anything about it, you have to ask yourself, what happened that led up to him just leaving? Was life just like great? We're getting along, I'm being a good wife to him and he just poofs and disappears? Or does logic tell you that, okay, there's way more to this story? Because if a man just ups and leaves and goes to Tampa for 3 days, you have to ask more questions. And because you don't know these people, you'll never get the answers to those questions. So you just have to be careful with judging women, judging men, because you don't have the full story. And there have been times, you guys, where I have like judged the situation and then like other pieces have come out later and then I look stupid. And then I end up saying, "Oh, well, I would have slapped her too." Like I mean when you get the full story, I mean, what if you found out that she dipped for 3 days, like, 2 years ago and had him worried, and he called the police, and he was out searching for her, and she came back and was like, "Well, I was just mad," you know? Would you feel different about him if you knew that she did the same thing, and then he ended up doing the same thing later, you'd probably you probably wouldn't be so hard on him. You probably look at it like, really y'all both are crazy, But here's my point. You don't know the full story. And I've listened to some stories when I've started off getting a piece of it, and then you hear the other person's side and you're thinking, "Oh, wow, okay. Now that makes sense." And I understand it still wasn't right, but I understand, like, I don't view you like as this villain anymore. So anyway, ladies, that's just something we need to be cognizant of when we're hearing when we're hearing about other people's husbands. Some husbands are just dead in the wrong, and then some husbands are unfortunately they're reacting to a lot of pressure that you have no clue about. This girl that we're talking about, you guys have no idea what it's like to be married to her, and you never will. Okay, you guys don't sleep next to this girl, you don't know her. You don't have to deal with who she truly is like he does. So there's no way that, I mean, I can't judge him for disappearing. I don't know what he's had to put up with. I don't know what he's dealing with when all these cameras go off. She could be the worst person to be with, and you guys would never know. So that's why you have to be careful with these shows. Because, like I said, I used to watch The Housewives. Me and my husband, we have an associate that was on a reality TV show, and when I tell you, this show made him look so crazy. And when we talked to him about it, he basically told us like the way they manipulate with the editing is so crazy and the stuff that they leave out. So anyway, that was a long rant. All that to say, just be careful when you guys are saying what you're saying when you don't have the full picture. But thank you, Shelly Matthews, and thank you for helping me recognize that is Drew Sidora. I haven't forgiven her for the terrible, awful she did. Um, let's see. Okay. So y'all, let's get back. Oh my gosh, y'all, there's so many comments. Sheesh. Okay. What are you talking about, JG? He said, I don't watch the show, but it sounds like they both can be petty. um but you know what? She was being petty in that clip. Now he might be petty. I don't know him, but he communicated to her. You can't say he didn't communicate. And how did she respond to him being direct and honest with her? Because what he said, JG, it didn't sound petty. Let me play this again. Hold on.
Whatever you're trying to do across effectively.
Yes, and then I will pay for you to have.
Yeah,
Maybe take it back.
yeah, You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna schedule a session for you to go and speak to Dr. Ken on like how to speak to men appropriately to get whatever you're trying to do across effectively.
Okay. I'm not seeing where he's being petty. I mean, look at his face. I mean, it doesn't look like he's joking. It looks like he's honestly trying to communicate to her, but you know, I could be wrong. Hold on, let me remove this. Um, Let me see. S. Carter says, "Nope, Ashley, you have to know why he said what he said. He was being sarcastic." Okay, so he wasn't. Okay. Mm, but how do we know he was being sarcastic? Like, how do we know that? I usually can pick up sarcasm. I didn't pick it up here, y'all. But anyway, yeah, it's a private conversation, but they're on a TV show. Donna Smith says his eyes look sad. Man, if that was sarcasm, y'all, that didn't look like sarcasm. Um, Shelly said you have to watch the whole episode because the dinner started out very nice. Okay. Well, look, we don't know, guys, but I wanna I wanna go over, and you guys can put in the comments, what do you think would be the right way to respond? So if my husband were to say something like that to me, the answer is not, okay, well, I'm gonna get you somebody so you can learn how to talk to women. That's childish, and it doesn't show that you want a happy, healthy marriage. There's a proverb in the Bible that talks about the foolish woman tearing her house down with her own hands. So we want to be building up our home. So if your husband is upset about something and he tells you that, you need to learn to talk to men more learn how to talk to men more effectively. Well, now we can get into some questions. Um, First question could be, did I say something to offend you? If so, can you help me understand um, what I'm doing wrong and what I'm saying wrong? And just sit back, be quiet. Don't say anything, and really listen to what he has to say. And this is going to take severe honesty, y'all. I mean, you have to be the type of woman that really wants to grow. Because if you really want to grow, you're always looking for opportunities to grow. So when you see that you have a flaw and it's affecting your marriage, you should be more concerned about the flaw that you have versus what he needs to be doing. That doesn't show that you are somebody that is really focused on a healthy marriage. You're more focused on self, because what you're doing is just you're focused on how you feel in that moment. You're not focused on how he feels. You're not focused on, man, I wonder. So what did I oops, look, y'all, to knock my light over. Um what did I do, or what did I say that would make him say something like that? So let's go from I can't believe he would say something like that to me to what did I do to make him say something like that? Let me at least attempt to understand. Let me really try to hear him out and understand. Because if you go to a good therapist, your therapist would help you to do the same thing in that situation. Your husband just expressed himself in therapy. The therapist wants to make sure that you heard and understood what he just said. Okay? Because me and my husband, we've also been to therapy, and that was one of the things that our therapist told us was that, you can't talk at each other. You have to talk to each other. But in order to do that, you have to listen. You have to learn to listen to each other. It takes humility. As a woman, you have to humble yourself. You have to humble yourself. And when you humble yourself, You realize that the world does not revolve around me, my emotions, and my feelings. Right now, it's his emotions that need to be catered to right now. And sometimes your emotions need to be catered to. As women, we're very emotional. I know my emotions, they gonna have to, it's I need some catering to my emotions. But I understand that it's not all about me. It cannot be all about my emotions all the time. So when my husband's expressing, frustration, to lash back out at him with that same frustration, that doesn't help us move forward. It just doesn't. And if you're feeling angry in that moment, y'all, I would much rather you guys transfer the anger emotion to sadness. I would much rather you, instead of screaming or getting sarcastic, I would much rather you cry instead, because especially for those of you who have been around longer, you understand that as a woman, sadness gets you further than anger. Anger is masculine, okay? Sadness is feminine. This is why, men who are more masculine, they don't use words like I'm sad. They say more harsher words like, I'm pissed, I'm mad, I'm angry. But men don't typically talk about being sad, nor do they want to look sad, then they sure don't want to be seen crying, because it's perceived as feminine. So, but um you tend to get a different response from men when you are sad. So if you're in that moment, I want you to really, go inside of yourself and transfer that anger emotion to sadness in that moment. Um, because I'm telling you, if he's coming at you and he's angry and then you lash back out at him with anger, like if you have to lash out in that moment, if you have to express yourself in that moment, at least let it be sadness. Please don't let it be anger. And it's still a negative emotion. It's just how you're expressing that emotion is different, and it tends to provoke a different response, you know, because men tend to, because there's men out there, okay? But they tend to not argue with women who, when a woman cries, it doesn't make a man like want to like yell and argue more unless he's abusive, or unless you really did something that was like messed up, you know. But um but yeah, if you have to express an emotion, at least let it be sadness. Um I would much rather you be calm in that moment and really focus on him, and really focus on understanding him, making sure that he's heard. um Hey, Flawed Tea and Talk. Hey, girl. Um, I'm gonna drop the link in a second too. Um, like I said, so I much rather you focus on his emotions at that time. But if you feel like you can't control your emotions, at least express sadness. Be vulnerable in that moment. Let him know that, you know what, hey, I hear what you're saying, but this is how it's making me feel right now. Like I feel, what you're saying, like it's making me feel really down. I feel like I feel sad, or it hurts my feelings, when you say that, and here's why. you know Help him to understand um your emotions, but at the same time, and this is if you can't control yourself, because ideally you want to focus on him in that moment. You don't want to make it about you. You don't want to, you know you don't have to be so center stage all the time, but I understand that some of us have different levels of self-control, and some women, depending on what the argument is about, may find it difficult to control themselves. But if you can't control yourself, Try your best not to be angry. Try to be more vulnerable and transfer that emotion to sadness instead. You'll get you'll more than likely get a much better response. And I don't know if we have any other men. JG, I know we have you in here. JG is he's a man. But if you guys can confirm that in the comments, confirm what I'm saying about when women express anger toward their husband versus expressing sadness. As a man, you know, confirm if that's the case for you. Does a woman get a better response out of you as a man when she's angry or when she's feeling sad? Um, S. Carter. Oh my gosh, y'all. If I see it works both ways one more time. S. Carter, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you. I appreciate your time. And I'm not trying to pick on you because it's not just you. If you go to my post where I talked about this, there are women on my post that say this. Y'all, we get it. It works both ways, you know? I don't like when women say that it works both ways because I feel like what you're trying to do is you're trying to ease the accountability. You're trying to get some of the accountability off you so you guys can split the accountability. And the purpose of this platform is to help women to be better. Because saying it works both ways, that does absolutely nothing. You know what? Matter of fact, in the clip, the wife in that clip, that was pretty much what she was saying in so many words when she said, "Okay, well, I'm gonna hire such and such so you can learn how to speak to women." That was her saying it works both ways. And what does that do? That literally does nothing. Now we're just sitting here stuck looking at each other. It works both ways. And then he's shrugging his shoulder and then I'm shrugging my shoulder. Oh, where did we go? We didn't go anywhere. We went absolutely nowhere. You women have to stop with this. It goes both ways. It does absolutely nothing for you. You need to be accountable for yourself. Yeah, it works both ways. Okay. But sometimes you're going to have to do the work and you may have to inspire some change in that moment. Just like you have men that kiss up to women when they have their attitudes. It's just crazy because that whole it works both ways. It's like I only hear women say that. Anytime a woman is being held accountable, she's got to say it works both ways. It reminds me of like if I'm holding my child accountable for getting in trouble with a group of kids at school, and she tells me like, well, mommy, they were doing this also. I'm frozen again on my end, y'all. But anyway, yeah, she wants to tell me what other kids were doing. I don't care about what other kids are doing. I care about you. I want you to be held accountable for you. I don't care about what other kids are doing. So, when you guys say that, I don't care. I don't care about what you see men doing. I care about you and what you're doing. Everybody has to be held accountable for themselves. Everybody. Um Rosemary Deem, I totally understand what your platform is about, maybe because I'm mature. Yeah, I mean it does take a mature woman to see this and no shot at anybody, because we all have to grow to maturity. And I just hope that, for the women who do say it goes both ways, as you're hearing me talk about that, I mean, I hope you're kind of sitting there like, well, okay, well, okay, maybe I do need to stop saying that, because we all have to grow. I know I had to do a lot of growing myself, and I wanted to create this platform to also help other women grow. Okay, because we've all been affected by feminism in one way or another, and we could be doing things and we could be messing up our relationships and we have no idea, we're not aware of it. Um, Marsha James says really ooh, some women really don't know their place. I'm learning. That's true. That has a women don't like I know women don't like to hear that, about knowing your place, but we do have a place. We do have a place. I appreciate you, Marsha, being willing to learn. Um, let's see. Robin says respect goes a long way. Absolutely. Um, let's see. Meek 007 said, I wouldn't say people with a different opinion aren't mature. Yeah, it's not that you're not mature. It's just, you know, the way, but the, let me choose my words carefully. When we're talking about the way I would handle a situation, that does say a lot about your maturity. So if you're the type to say that, hey, it goes both ways, and you're not as focused on self, but you're focused on him and what he's doing, that could mean that there is a lack of maturity there. So guys, just to get back on track, some of the things that um wait, no, let me go back. So basically, yes, if my husband were to say that to me, I want to focus on what I did wrong. So when I walk away from that conversation with him, I need to know what I did. I need to be clear on what I did. And if you're spiritual, you'll pray about it. I know I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pray about it, and I want to keep it in mind. I may want to journal it, or whatever you want to do. But you want to keep it in mind, and you want to work hard to avoid repeating those actions, because they obviously really bother him. So, um, let me see. Rhonda Walker says, then sometimes us women be dealing with some mental emotions, and I know because I'm going through this, so I had to get some help from me. And for me, I did this to make our relationship better, and it's working. And thank you, Rhonda. Thank you for being a good example. See, this is how you hold yourself accountable. You go to therapy. Let me tell y'all something. I went to therapy first. Um, Me and my husband, we did do therapy together, but before that, I actually went first because I knew that there was something wrong with me. I knew that I had issues that I had to work out. So I knew I had to work on myself. So Rhonda, kudos to you for being able to see that, I'm going through something. I need to go fix myself so I can be better for this person that I dedicated my life to. Um, yes, and Carly CB agrees with you. Adrian McMillan, yes, we are live. But yeah, Rhonda Walker she's an amazing example of what it means to be a mature grown woman. I'm taking full accountability for myself. I'm not going to be sitting here talking about, well, shoot. I mean, we both need to go to therapy. We both need to go. When you gonna go to therapy? You see that there's a problem within yourself, um and then you go get the help. I'm gonna drop the link here. So if you guys want to come up and discuss, um, you guys can come up on camera with me and just give your take on that situation. I would love to hear your opinions. Gwen Rose says, thank you, Ashley, and positive women out there. Yeah. So, guys, we have to be honest with each other. I can try to be as positive and nice as I can, but I have to, at the same time, we have to give it to each other straight. But it like, I come in love, and the same medicine that I give you, I have to take that same medicine. And sometimes when I get off my stream, guys, sometimes depending on what the topic is, I do think, because with the stream being fresh on my mind, depending on what I talked about, I start thinking about myself and, um, things that I'm doing or what I could be doing better, or, I think, I need to be working on that too. So, I have to take the same medicine, the exact same medicine that I'm giving. I also take. I'm not a goddess floating among you guys. I am flawed too, and I have to work on myself. And me doing these streams and posting, positive, encouraging stuff on my platforms, that also helps me, because not only are you guys getting reminders, but I'm also getting those same reminders. JG says, when you realize you have self work to do and you go do the self work, that's real maturity. Absolutely. We don't do it goes both ways. He got to do it too. No, you go do the internal work and maybe you'll inspire him to do it. I actually said that in response to a comment that says she said it goes both ways. And I told her that you want to inspire a man to change versus telling him he needs to change, because men tend to shut down when their woman is trying to, like, they feel like their woman is bossing them or telling them what to do, mothering them. Men tend to not respond well to that. But when you start making changes and you become more positive, you know, and you start to work on y'all's friendship, that can inspire him to want to be closer to you. And you can end up getting that outcome that you desire. Um, yes, Rhonda. She said it starts with self first. Thank you, Rhonda. I love seeing women like you. Jennifer says, Ashley, you're hitting on some good points. Thank you. Meek007, I'm not married, but this platform is awesome. Lets me know I won't be ready for marriage for a while. I'm stubborn, strong-minded, and probably should stay single for a while. But you know what? At least you're aware of that. At least you're aware of it. But if you do the inner work, and maybe heal from, whatever you went through, undo some of that, those generational habits, you can get ready. But kudos to you, because it sounds like you're someone who doesn't want to make someone suffer because of your bad traits. So I wish you the best. Queen says, we all have flaws. Yes, we do. And we're responsible for our flaws. We have to work on them. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, look, I told y'all this was going to be a short stream. I've dropped the StreamYard link, if anybody wants to come up, but if no one comes up, I'm going to end this stream pretty soon. But I hope you guys had some things that you can, take away from this. It's not always the man's fault. And turn on your listening ears when your man is expressing himself. I'm taking this medicine too, okay? Because sometimes when they say things, it can, our feelings be getting hurt, y'all. And sometimes it can feel like they don't love us when they're saying this. It can just feel like man, sometimes it just makes you feel down. It makes you feel low. It makes you feel like I'm not doing something right, it's not a comfortable feeling. But those are just feelings, it doesn't mean that he feels that way. He's just got to get how he's feeling. He's got to get that out. But it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. Kay Davidson says, I really believe it starts with self. And hopefully it inspires our mates to work on self, and eventually we come together and work as a collective. That's perfect. Okay, that's absolutely perfect. I couldn't have said that better myself. Start with yourself and pray and hope that you guys can come together. Be patient. Be patient. I think we got JG in the house. Hey JG, how you doing?
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. How you doing?
Doing good.
Awesome. Huh?
You see me on there?
I can't. It's a black screen.
Oh, okay. Let's see. The mic isn't. Oh, let me drop out and come back in.
Okay, sure. Okay. Hey, girl.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
You-
Pretty. The pink.
Oh,
That's you. That's
thank
you.
How you?
That's
So how
you.
you doing tonight?
I'm good.
That's
good.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
So what you got on the topic?
So I know a little bit of history on them, on the
Oh
relationship
Lord.
as a
Okay,
whole.
you
So
about to
I'm
talk
kind,
about the show. No.
no, matching the energy, totally the
Mhm.
wrong thing to do. But this is the
Right.
history of their relationship on the show. Like we said, we don't know these people, so we can only
Right.
go by what we see, the edited versions of what we see, and the history of their relationship. This is what they do.
Mhm.
Match the energy. Somebody has
Right.
to be mature at some point. And in this
Mhm.
situation, she probably should have been that person, but there's been other situations where they both were, this is the nature of their relationship.
Okay, so this is who they are.
Yeah.
It's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Man,
So
it's disappointing.
Miss Drew Sidora.
I still haven't forgiven her. I have
Me
not
either.
forgiven her. I'll
Me
never
either.
forget. I will
Yeah.
never forget. I
She'll always
cried.
be that girl.
Yeah, because I cried on that episode when Melanie walked out. Anyway, y'all, that's
But
besides the
it's just a
point.
show. It's just a
That's
show.
it's besides the point. Look, I need to let it go. I need to let it go. Hey, JG. Okay, we can see you now. What do you have on the topic?
Honestly, I felt like she was listening to respond instead of listening to understand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? She came back with a quick clap back. You know what I mean? It's like, so you didn't pick up the trash. I'm not gonna pick it up either. So oh well. It's
Mm-hmm.
like petty for petty. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like I felt like they both had some petty energy going on, but at the same time, he probably felt some type of way. So
Right.
mm,
Yeah. Absolutely. And like I said earlier, I think it goes back to that proverb about the unwise woman um
mm,
tearing down her home,
yeah,
with her bare hands. And
yeah,
I I don't, like I said, I don't know their pattern. I know that men
mm,
they tend to check out in different ways. Some just kind of shut down and they don't have
mm,
much of a relationship with their wives. Some will go out and have affairs.
right,
Some will drink, some will just kind of give up and play the petty game with them. And it just depends on what kind of man that you have.
right,
Um, but as a woman, what I'm trying to help women to understand is that you are in control of yourself. And you'd be
mhm,
surprised that, when you start working on yourself and putting forth the effort, the
correct,
things that you can find out along the way. Like there are some stories that I've heard just kind of, being on YouTube where, and this is rare, by the way, but the woman will work on herself and she'll find out, like in therapy or talking to her husband or her man, she'll find out what's been bothering him the whole time that he's been holding inside. But if
mm,
she had not have done the work and
right,
had not have been so positive, he never would have opened up. So men respond to things in different kinds of ways, and
right,
they'll say, "Man, I didn't know that that was bothering you, or I didn't, man, or I knew that it was a bad thing to do, but I didn't realize that that's why you were so shut down." There's so many things that we do that we're just like completely unaware of. And
mhm,
I think that that's why it's really important for women to, stick close to their husbands and, have a bond with your husband, a friendship. Don't get too far away from him where, you'll start to like, there's so much distance where and time goes by with that distance to where, the person can develop different feelings and
mhm,
internalize different things and it show up in other areas in the relationship. So, and that goes for me too. Um, I feel like I have to keep saying that, guys, because like I said, I'm not perfect. I have to take, the same medicine. Marriage is up and down, it
right.
goes up and down.
Peaks and
And
Mhm.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
peaks and valleys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
Yeah. And so you have to learn how to kind of survive in those, in those valleys and always seek to get it back up to the peak and hopefully,
mm,
not go down into the valley so often. But it does happen. It does happen because we're not robots and we go through things and we're imperfect. But as women, it's time for us to stop being so coddled and so catered to, this
mhm,
whole movement of put that woman first and you a queen. I think it's gone to our heads a little bit to where, we
yeah,
think that we don't have to work, because I'm a queen, he needs to.
mm,
Sometimes we need to humble ourselves. And like I said,
yeah.
I have to take that same medicine. I have to, also do the work. So I know how difficult that it can be sometimes, but it can be done.
I want to tap into that scripture you just used about
Mhm.
the woman tearing down her home with her hands. That's a symbolism for her words because
Mm,
God created things with his words. So those were his hands or your words. You know, your
yeah.
words create what you want out of life. You speak it into existence. So if you're speaking over your marriage of, I hate you, I can't stand you, I don't like you, then you're going to tear down your marriage and your home and your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we know with that scripture, it's figurative,
Right.
it's not talking about like a literal house and the woman's outside, like
Right.
hitting bricks and
Right.
removing bricks,
Right.
so it is, an analogy. So yeah, we do have to watch what we say. And that's why I said in that situation, what I wanted people to walk away with was, okay, um, if I find myself in this situation or like a similar situation where my husband communicates a problem that he has with me, how will I respond? Will I build up my home? How am I going to add that brick or how am I going to add some more shingles on the top? I'm going to respect him enough to allow him to express himself. I'm not going to make this moment about myself. I'm going to give him the room to express himself. I'm going to listen. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to make sure that I walk away understanding what the problem is, and I'm going to work on myself so that I'm a better person for him. And that's how you build up your home. And ladies, nobody's going to do this perfectly. We're human too, but you have to work at it. You have to put in the work. You can't just sit still and think that, um, you know, I'm just, I'm just mad about it. So I'm just gonna, because that's a part of tearing down your home too. When you don't move, when you don't do anything about the problem, and you just kind of let it fester and get worse, that's also tearing down your home. You're gonna have your moments, but ladies, always, even in those moments, make sure you get back to work. So, let me see. Hey, red lipstick. You said you was gonna come up. Mhm. But she says, yes, life and death is in the power of the tongue. Rhonda Walker says, so true. That's what happened to me and my husband. But when I went and got help and still getting the help, and yes, I take meds, but our relationship is so amazing. I did that because I love my husband. Rhonda, I'm gonna start having tears like on my platform. I'm gonna start, you need to be like, you need to go up a tier or something because I'm loving your story, girl. I love it. Andrea, I'm frozen again, y'all, by the way. But Andrea Jones says, have to be willing to put our pride and ego aside and stop thinking everything that is said as an attack and
Mhm.
honestly evaluate ourselves and be willing to accept accountability for our actions. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm still frozen, y'all. I don't know what's going
We
on.
can hear you.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah.
I wanted to pin her comment so everyone could see. But absolutely, Andrea, putting our pride and ego aside and stop thinking everything that is said is an attack. It's not. And that's what I just touched on, Andrea. Um, just because he's expressing himself and you feel uncomfortable in that moment, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. But it can feel that way. Because it's not comfortable. It's not a good feeling. So when your husband, especially when he's expressing something negative about you that's bothering him, women, we sometimes like it's like the way we listen, like we feel through it. Because my husband, oh, it's embarrassing too when he does this, but he'll say something to me and I'll respond based on how it made me feel. And he'll literally, y'all, and it's so embarrassing because he'll say, "That's not even what I said. What did I say?" And I'm like, "Oh, ooh, what did you say?" Because I responded based on how it's like I can't even repeat
Mhm.
what he said sometimes because, like, the way I'm listening through how I feel, not based on the words that was actually said. And then when he goes back and he goes over what he just said, I realize that, oh my gosh, he didn't even say like, it's crazy, how our minds are when when we're in these conversations and our feelings get involved. It's kind of like it clouds our ears and our minds. So we really do have to work on that. And that's part of why I created this platform, was to give women the reassurance that, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you, but men have to be able to express themselves. And the way they express themselves, it's not going to be, a lot of times, it's not going to be how we express ourselves. They're going to express themselves like men. And you have to respect that the way they express themselves is going to be different from how women express themselves. And for those of you who follow me on Facebook, I said this in my post, that masculinity tends to be harsh and direct. Okay. But women, because we're emotional and we're more sensitive, when someone is harsh and direct toward us, our feelings start to get involved. So just keep that in mind. I hope you guys take that with you.
And
Um,
just piggybacking off of
mhm.
that too, with that's why I think it's important that you go to counseling separate. Like you said, you went to counseling prior to, because you had things that you needed to work out. And
Mhm.
then after you both go separate, then you can come together as a couple and do it. Because if
Yeah.
you're listening, if you're responding off of, the way someone made you feel, to me, those are issues you have within yourself, whether they be, I don't
Mhm.
know, it can be insecurities, it could be, and insecurity is not a bad thing. So I'm not saying it like
Yeah.
it's a bad thing. We all have
People
insecurities.
weaponize that word.
Right, right.
So
And it's really annoying because it's
yeah.
like but that's another show. But
Hmm.
um, yeah, I think it's really important because I think women do that a lot. Because I
Hmm.
call it emotionally retarded. And a lot of people don't like it, but it is what we're emotional creatures,
Yes.
and that is how we respond off of, but it's something on the inside, and a lot of women don't like to admit that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. We're human. We're women. We're men. But that separate counseling, I think that's super important. Even if you think you got it, well, that's the problem there. Because if you think you got it and you know it, that's a
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah.
So anytime before you get married, go to counseling separate. Even if you think you
Hmm.
don't have an issue, just go. If you're about to bond with somebody and be with somebody for the rest of your life, you need counseling.
Yes.
Go anyway.
Yeah,
You need
absolutely.
counseling.
Also, I've said this on a previous stream, but vet your therapist too, because you want. Speaking of the Real Housewives, y'all, the last season that I watched, the one where the girl Portia was with Cordell Stewart, there was a scene where they went and they saw this therapist. Ooh, the therapist was a feminist too, y'all. And I was watching her husband's face as he was sitting there. He was checked out. And I'm
Mm.
just like, oh my gosh, this therapist is not gonna help them. She's not gonna help them because Cordell, it's so funny. Like basically the bait and switch was caught on national television. And this was before the whole, catchphrase bait and switch, kind of took flight over social media. But she basically said, she admitted that when I married him, I said I wanted to be a stay-at-home wife, but now I want to be a career woman. Okay. So now they're in therapy and he's communicating to the therapist that, hey, this is how I grew up. My dad worked, my mom stayed at home. That's what I want. And her words to him are, well, Cordell, I mean, women work. She should be able to work.
Mm.
And I'm sitting there like, ma'am, first of all, like, okay, first of all, you're not like a Christian therapist, right? And I think they're more Christian based. And so in the Christian faith, the man is the head of his home. We complement the man. We are his helper. So it's about what the man needs from his woman. And that can look different, for different marriages. So what Cordell needed from his woman, and Cordell's rich, he's a multimillionaire. So he didn't need his wife to work. He would rather his wife stay home and nurture their children. And so he was sticking to that. And he said that I'm not giving her any kids. If she doesn't get on my program, and she doesn't, if she's not being the wife that I need her to be, it doesn't make sense to bring kids into the situation. But my point in bringing that up was the therapist sided with Portia, but Portia was in the wrong.
Mm.
Okay. Because she agreed to an assignment before she got married to him.
Mm-hmm.
But once she started getting around these strong, independent Black women, once she started getting around, uh,
Which there's
nearly.
nothing wrong with, which, yeah, because being strong, independent, and all that, if that's what works for that marriage. I had the same connotation you had because I was like,
Mhm.
Portia, you can't, unfortunately, you can't switch up. That's why
Yeah.
it's important to talk about what each other wants before you get married.
Yeah.
Because although you
Absolutely.
might feel like you want to do this, he married, and the type of person Cordell was,
Oh,
the
so
type
you
of person
remember.
he was, yes, I do.
Mhm.
The type of person he was, that's what he needed. And he expressed that before they got married. He was
Yes.
adamant.
Yeah.
Now, realistically, do people change their minds? Yes, but unfortunately, you can't do it because he married you on that precedence that you
Yeah.
were going to be a housewife and you agreed. So, yeah, running in
Absolutely.
those cliques, because she was in a clique for it wasn't nobody.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was with Nene and them, right? That
Yeah,
was
but
Nene.
she was in the wrong clique,
She was
so
in the
they have
wrong
their
clique.
right to be strong and independent, but that wasn't the group for her,
Unless
and
you
what
can
I was
stay in there and
saying.
still stands with I mean, you can hang with them if it don't change the way you feel.
And that just tends to not happen. That's why in the Bible in First Corinthians it says bad association spoils useful habits. So the useful
Mm.
habits you have can be spoiled by your bad association. So if you're a stay-at-home wife and you're around a lot of strong, driven, independent women that are thriving in their careers and that can, go out of town and basically kind of, act like they're single, they all over the place, and they're kind of doing their own thing, that can inspire you to also want to do what they're doing when you're surrounded by that. So I just find it interesting how their marriage seemed to be okay before they joined the show. She joins the show, gets around them, and now is saying, I changed my mind. I want a career
And
now.
that's what I didn't understand about why did Cordell even okay, because that goes back to they shouldn't have came on the show because they knew who
Yeah.
was on the cast.
Hmm.
So they both had a responsibility to sit back and assess what situation we're going into.
Right.
So we're going into a situation. Everybody knew Nene. Everybody knew everybody's situation. I think they were all married,
Hmm.
and they still went on this show. Y'all don't fit.
Mm.
Yeah.
If you're
Right.
that strong in your values of the marriage, they both fumbled that.
Yeah. I agree.
They
I
they
agree.
both fumbled that. So somebody should have been like, "This ain't the show for us,"
Hmm.
because I don't, yeah,
And maybe he did behind the scenes, but the thing is, once a woman, especially like Portia, once she gets a taste of it, it's like, ugh, it's like a battle. I know you're saying it ain't good for us, but I like the show. I still think I'm gonna do it. It just
yeah, and it
depends.
could be that she was faking because I believe that was Portia all the time.
Hmm.
I think she just pretended like she wanted to be a housewife because she wanted the lifestyle Cordell could provide.
Mm.
But I
Mm.
don't think that show changed Portia. I think that was always Portia. That's just my
But
opinion.
Saquana, she fooled me because when I tell you, just because I went back and I was watching some clips of it, I'm like, her personality was so like she had childlike humility, like a child almost, like naive, green, inexperienced.
Mm.
And so the way she kind of flipped into this like ratchet,
I'm
I'm a
telling you, that's who she was because Portia wasn't innocent before she married Cordell. Portia had been around a little bit.
wow.
That wasn't her first high profile. That was her first marriage, her first high
See,
profile marriage. But see, there's history. That's why I say people.
So
And
they're
I
she fooled
followed the
me.
show. Yeah, and then she was around
mm.
the R. Kelly situation. She was
Wow.
involved in that, and then she had been in the industry. So I think that, and we all change as we grow, but I think
True.
Portia always had a little ratchetness in her. I think Cordell was an opportunity that she did not want to pass up,
Hmm.
and then it didn't take much time for it to blow up.
Mm.
Mm.
Man, that is sad.
So
That was like I said, she
yeah,
had me fooled. I was fooled. And
yeah.
I was feeling, bad for her too, especially when, she was crying on there. I'm like, man, she's so sweet. I feel like she's being ruined by these women. But now I see what you're saying. It could all be an act, but that just makes it more scary for men because if she could fool me, man,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just it proves how good women are at putting up that front to get what they want. And because the court system is on our side, they can bait and switch and face no consequences for it. So I can say, yeah, I want to be a stay-at-home wife. I want to stay home with the kids. And then once we're married, I can switch it, right? And if you don't like it, yeah, you can divorce me, but you would still pay the price for that divorce, meaning our kids, I'm more than likely going to get custody of. And then we're
Which
going to
she didn't
split.
have with him, which is great. So
Thank
yeah,
goodness,
they did not have kids
we gonna
together.
split everything down the middle, and it's like he's paying the price. He's gonna pay the price for it, so marriage for men is kind of, risky today because women can do the whole bait and switch thing, which is sad. Anyway, guys, last words. JG, I think you were trying to cut in and say
No,
something.
no, I was gonna say it sounds like they didn't have a solid foundation before they got on the show. I think
Hmm.
you hit it on the head.
Um,
Like you said, she wasn't, like that anyway. You know what I mean? Like she,
Cordell was he was a pretty stand up.
yeah, he was.
And I got a lot of flack from this because I said it on I didn't have this platform, but I used to talk
Mhm.
on social media, and I was actually on Cordell's side for a lot of the show. And people were like, Tijuana, are you serious? He's super possessive. It's like he's treating her like a child. It's like, no, this
Mm,
is what she signed up for. When a man tells you what they want from you, like Ashley said, in this marriage, like she said, he didn't need no money. That's
true,
not what he needed.
true.
Portia she flipped it, but
She,
she knew what she was doing. I think she was raised for this
Mm,
mm,
because her mom is questionable to me too. But we're not gonna go there. This wasn't about Portia now.
yeah.
But yeah, there's history.
Wait,
but I feel like as men, that's why we must vet and inspect a person. We must sit back and really figure out who this person we're dealing with. Ask
mhm.
the hard questions, have the uncomfortable conversations, so you don't have the uncomfortable situations in court.
Right. And date for a considerable amount
Exactly,
of time, or stay engaged for a
exactly.
considerable amount of time, because you
Yeah.
can't fake it for too long. Your true you is going to come out. So,
Hey, when you ask certain questions, especially with this whole soft life era and everything going on, it's like when you start asking some questions, it's like, what do you mean by that? It's like, oh, that's
right.
how I really feel.
And then the inconsistency in the answers. It's
Correct.
nothing wrong with asking the same question a couple of times to see if those answers change over, a period of time. That's how you know too. So,
Facts. Yeah.
absolutely.
I wanna, guys, real quick. This is the girl who was saying that it goes both ways earlier, and she says women can do the whole bait and switch. Men and women can do that. I like this platform, but this feels like a one-sided topic. S. Carter, it absolutely is one-sided. Yep, it is. It is. And I'm gonna tell you why. This is part of why I created this platform, is because I saw the problem that I see with women is they have a they struggle with being able to take full accountability for their actions. And there's a lot of coddling going on. There's a lot of panderers out there. You got Steve Harvey, you got Derek Jackson, other content creators that are telling women that men are wrong. You deserve better. You're a queen when you're just as much of a hot mess too. So part of why I created this platform was for women's accountability.
Mm.
This is a platform where we hold women accountable. Now, does it mean that women are the only ones that are the problem? No, but it means that we're both the problem, but it seems as though men bear most of the responsibility, while women, because we're seen as weaker and we can emotionally manipulate, we tend to be seen as the victims in situations. So now men today, they're starting to open up their eyes a little bit more, and they're starting to see things for how they are, and they're starting to see the truth about women, that, oh, it's not just us. Women also are at fault too. But the problem is women, um, from what I've seen, um they're not good with taking accountability for their actions. So I said to myself, like, women, we need to start holding each other more accountable. We need to grow together. We need to make each other better. That's why I created this platform, and that's why when you see me talking, I find examples that are women, so we can talk about it and we can grow from it. So when you walk away from the show today, you not talking about, yeah, because he should have did that. Yep. She a queen and she deserved better. You're not walking away saying that. You're gonna walk away saying, man, okay, I see what she did wrong. let me examine myself to, make sure that I'm not doing that same thing, or this motivates me to avoid doing what she did. And the purpose is to make you better for your relationship, because you cannot control men. You can control you. So, like I said to you earlier, saying it goes both ways, you move absolutely nowhere. You go nowhere. It's literally like parking your car on the freeway. So it go both ways. Okay, what now? What do we do now?
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
then it gives you an excuse to continue to not get better. So
Yeah.
I do agree with Ashley with that. When we do, because that's my platform is the same thing. I'm trying to empower women, and one of my main values, the number one value, is accountability. Because that's the
Mhm.
number one thing that I'm finding that we cannot take, whether it's because of pride, whether it's because of fear. Like I don't know what it is. I just know it's a symptom that is causing great illness
Yeah.
in relationships. And as soon as we start to realize that, then it can get a little bit better. And it does sound unfair. Ladies, I know I'm
Mhm.
a lady. So it does sound unfair when you're hearing people say women, 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 she did this because there's an excuse for everything. But
Mhm.
and then there's also a reason too. So
Right.
we just got to take accountability. And
Mhm.
it's hard to hear it, but if you're going to hear it, you need to hear it from women, because coming from the men, we're not listening for whatever reason. And we're not listening because, no, he did this, so I did that. And the reason why I did that, if he didn't do that, then I wouldn't have did that.
Mhm.
No,
Exactly.
we're adults. We're not children.
Yeah.
So let's
Absolutely.
work on ourselves first. And then if we know we're doing everything that we're supposed to do and he's still acting up, then that's when you need to take it to the next level. Either you go counseling, or maybe he's not the one for you, or maybe
Mhm.
you're not the one for him.
Yeah.
Like, it can go a number of ways, but the first step is taking accountability for your actions, not his.
Mhm. Now, y'all, she said, "Okay, I guess this is why it seems one-sided, because I'm a wife that is accountable and treat my husband like a king. If he was on here, he would say the same." Okay,
Right.
so if you are a wife that is accountable, then I don't see how you
It
could
should be
complain.
relatable.
Huh?
It should be relatable then.
Yeah, you should. This should be this should be in alignment with who you are. So I don't understand what the pushback is about when you say that it's one-sided. Because one-sided, when it's one-sided, that means you're holding one side accountable. And that one side that we're holding accountable is women. Now you're saying that you're a wife who is accountable. So I don't understand. Maybe you can clear that up. But JG, do you find is that your experience too? Like what we're saying about women and just the lack of
Yeah,
accountability that we have?
yeah, most definitely. It definitely has been in a place where even with my family or friends or female friends I've had, I'm telling them something that they did wrong, and they're like, "Oh, well, why should I use wisdom? Why should I use patience? I just want to do what I want to do." And it's like that's not following your emotions, especially your negative emotions, is going to get you caught up in something even worse. And it's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, he did it, so I can do it too." And it's like, but you didn't solve anything with doing that.
Yeah.
You didn't take any accountability, so you both are stuck. And like
Mhm.
you said, Flaw T and Talk, like some people are just not compatible.
Hmm.
No matter how much work they do on themselves, some people are not compatible and it stunts their growth and their healing. And like I
Mhm.
said in the comments, like when you heal the trauma, you can stop the drama. A lot of people are not healing the trauma, so
I
they
like that.
continue the drama.
Right.
That's what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I always say when people come up, it makes it more interesting. So thank you guys for coming up. I wish I had the hand clap, the soundboard,
Right.
but I'm
Girl,
just
and I
gonna
tried to
shut
look
up.
that up and it was not working. I was like, to trash you go. I don't know what. And then it didn't sound right. I was like, okay, let me just be me and not do all this
Next,
extra stuff.
look, hand clap. There
Right.
you go. Okay, guys, I'm gonna drop you guys down.
Okay.
Thank you so
All right.
much for joining me. Um, let me see. Uh, hey, Miss, she says, awesome discussion. Thank you. Jennifer Dahl says, I love the show. Ashley Adrian McMillan, thank you all. Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for joining. Like I said, the point of my live stream, I want you guys to walk away feeling like you learned something or just motivated to want to do better. So when it comes to your communication or your husband communicating with you, make sure you remember that my feelings are not the only one that matters. Okay, I'm not going to make this about me. I'm going to focus on him. If he's giving me some constructive criticism, you know, I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it up, you know, and it might hurt me and it might be uncomfortable, but his feelings matter. And I know if I fix this thing about me that's bothering him, this is going to benefit the marriage. But if I do the tit for tat thing and the whole it goes both ways things, then that can actually damage my marriage. And remember, the proverb says that the wise woman builds up her home. So we want to build up our home. Let me see. Shell says, try not to turn the narrative in your direction when men are venting or having the conversations we would like for them to have. Maybe set a timer and just actively listen and then repeat back after. Yes, absolutely. I've even I think I was scrolling through Instagram. I saw this video where this girl said that she actually she takes some notes while her husband is venting so that she can it helps her to remember what he said, because sometimes when we get lost in our emotions and we're sitting there and we're feeling away, we can walk away and kind of forget about what he was even saying. Um so yeah, that's just an idea, but focus on him. Your husband matters, and when he feels like he matters to you, this is what you do when you want to bond closer to your husband. And I'm telling you, the relationship you have with your husband, especially in these hard times, y'all, it's really important. It's really important because it's hard out here. You know, times are getting crazier. We're more likely to suffer from, depression today than we were years ago. If you're married and you're not appreciating your husband, start appreciating him. Start appreciating him by listening to him, by respecting him, by reserving your comments, and your feelings so as to give him the floor to say, hey, I care about you. You matter. I just want to listen to you, you know because when you make that relationship strong, now that's actually going to help with the things that we go through today. Like, a lot of us are going through, like, financial hardships, like all kind of things. And to be able to have a man that you can lay next to and your relationship is healthy and you can just like cuddle up and just hold him, that's actually going to carry you through these tough times that we're going through right now, you know so really put stock and investment into your husband. Invest in him. Listen to him. Okay? Your feelings matter too. They matter too. They just don't matter all the time. Okay? Um thank you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Shell, for coming by. She says, yes, heal the trauma. She also says this was good. Love the male's perspective too. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rhonda says, Lord Jesus, yes, I love it. Flawed Tea and Talk. I went to Shawnee's Women Empowerment event and her husband, she said her and her husband set a timer for 10 minutes and they each get that time to vent with no interruptions. Great advice. Yeah, I like that idea. Thank you for sharing that. Um, Let me see. Flawed Tea and Talk. That's great advice. And my point that I was trying to make when I posted it was it goes both ways. This is what I meant. S. Carter, I hope I cleared that up for you. That in a relationship you have to give to the other person. Yes, it goes both ways, but sometimes you have to come in saying, you know what, I'm not worried about whether you apologize or whether you change or not. I'm here to do my part. All I can do is my part. So I want you guys to focus on that. Focus on doing your part. And what does your part look like? Just do it. Don't worry about, oh, well, if I gotta apologize, okay. He need to apologize too. Just apologize. Just apologize. Move forward. Be sweet to him. Build your friendship. And maybe you might get an apology. If he sees that you're sincere and he knows you weren't expecting an apology back, sometimes that moves people to apologize. And some of you that are watching, y'all have been in a situation where you've apologized first. And you didn't ask the person to apologize, but then they turn around and they apologized after you because your apology, your humility moved them to want to do the same thing you did. This stuff tends to be contagious. So, but if you had to come in there like, well, I'm gonna apologize, but you need to apologize too, you might have just hurt your chances of getting that apology. So just be careful with the it goes both ways things. We know it goes both ways. It doesn't need to be said. Just focus on you and just do your part. Um, but guys, we're going to go ahead and shut this down. Thank you guys so much for joining. I think this was a great stream. I started off not feeling that well, but once I got going, I feel a lot better now. So thank you for joining. So from now on, guys, the show is Mondays at 8 o'clock. I'm no longer doing my shows on Tuesday. Okay. And I'll be putting a reminder on my Instagram and Facebook. If you're not following me on those platforms, make sure you follow me there as well, because I post stuff daily there, or at least I try to. Okay. All right. So I hope you all have a good night. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.